can't stick in. They still have 3 more games to make the run, but they're putting themselves into that corner.
So close, yet so far there. You just need material. When the desperate plays like that come through in the end, it is hard for any team to convert and find something big for McKinsey, though. Continues to fight back. Widow and Madden from the 2 a.m. team find themselves on the high ground. Game 1 was okay, earned at least a little something, but this is where things start to really add up. You got to make it past this 9 zone here. You got to make it to the late stages if you at least want to earn some big placement points.
With this elevation, the choice is theirs when it comes to the timing. Kinetic Blade, be one of the first teams to the front side of zone, stagger yourself back, try to put pressure with that red eye all around the lobby. On1 and Zypha, they're smushed down low, so for them, they got to worry about a lot of these teams, when and where they're going to rotate. But Zypha with both the ODM and the Kinetic Blade, he definitely has 2 different versions of that rotation. So if he runs short on those charges, he at least has something up his sleeve to continue his run. Squad and Jock, they're getting staggered back. You see a lot of teams flying through the sky with the Kinetic Blade. That is going to be their green light to go.
Wavy Jacob trying to play for height right there as well. Bolts is going to fall there. Thoric is now left to play defensively by himself here. He looks around. There's 2 on the left side, multiple on the low ground. That's not a safe peak by any means, but On1, Zypha, who would have thought we'd find them below the Storm Surge? This is a very scary team to corner with their backs against the wall, and now they start to turn up.
They go. Force and fighting. On1's the guy. Omizi goes down, sent right back to the lobby, but he's under pressure. Shots coming in. Slurp Juice is going to be popped, and with that flare, he can still pop it out and see where everybody's positioned at so he can make his rotation.
It's not over just yet for Kinzo. His story continues. We talked about a solo that was so set up to do big things. It was him here. He's really looking up. He's trying to say, hey, what can I do here? Nothing just yet. But no, stuck between a team there, has to exit out. Misses the first edit, finds the other, and safety is right in front of him, but it costs him so much material just for this single miss there. It's Qua and Jack. So elevated here, away from danger, on metal material. They have enough to slide for a little bit longer, but remember, these zones start to pull further and further now. So that material count will start to dwindle down here. On1, not even putting protection above them. They're just fighting their way through still. Haven't found the material that they need.
They need a refresh for multiple different reasons.
There it is.
Chug Splash is going to be picked up. Material as well. On1 needs to get out of this position. Pressure from all angles. The peak goes through. On1 takes another tag. 11 HP. He's still fighting through it all. And that refresh he found is the key for his success. Only 2 splashes though. So HP and shield still going to be drastic. But I think if anybody can get the job done, it's one of West's best box fighters.
And he's just showing you how it is done. Wait for him to stay up right now. Snake, though, on the low ground, finds a huge one, and that's onto Diego. And look, there's a player in the distance, doesn't even realize how dangerous of a situation he was in, but Kinzo falls too. And now Snake is really starting to turn online. What a great finish for him and Mega to find all the points there when it mattered. But they were still just shy of that top 10, so here we have it.
Macro and User, Clarity, Castor, so many teams just trying to stay alive with the madness. Another elimination is going to be found. As Smallsy gets taken out. Into the top 10 we go. And for some of these teams, that's big points and consistency. But sitting cool as a cucumber, not a worry in the world. Qua and Jock at the high ground, putting pressure, forcing these altercations toward the low ground.
And this is Surge Week. You need to take a W to go straight to finals. Why wait for Wavy Jacob, though? He's lost his teammate. No static here. It's just him. Enemies behind the wall there. All of this is all enemy territory, but now he gets crushed in the bottom. Widow gets crushed right afterwards as well. It's only Paper and Shadow, one of the few remaining duos here. Healthy as well. Material in hand, but it's running short.
You can see it, you can feel it right here, right before our very eyes. The vault loop from Shattered Slabs, bringing them so far. But User popping the Slurp Juice. Splash is going to go out. Doesn't have much time when it comes to that heal off. Has to find the eliminations, but with all the time in the world, 9 splashes, Jock and Qual, they have this one in the bag. The timing has to be perfect though, so when they send one down and try to go for the eliminations, exactly what Shadow's trying to do, but he gets knocked down. It's all up to Paper here in the top 3.
Paper has to double back now because of that single elim, that big find there, and he knows there's an opponent in the distance here. Can he get it from him? But no, doesn't look like it's going to be possible here. He has to be quick. He has to find him, and he does! What a way to turn things around and really take advantage of the situation, but we know high ground was, of course, being babied by Jack with all the splashes there, and now Paper's looking around. He doesn't quite find him. He sees the tarp, and he feels like this might just be it. And just a moment's breath, but no, doesn't quite find a tag. 4 beats away. Jack had just 40 HP difference. 1 heal could have been like literally all he needed for Paper.
And Paper got the eliminations at the low ground. You see him looking through all that loot, trying to scavenge what he can. He found materials, he found ammo, he found mobility, but he didn't find any HP, and that was the difference between Qua and Jock securing their ticket to the FNCS Grand Final.
What a way to do it, right? The FNCS champion Jock here says, hey, give me a second, save me a spot. You know what, Qua, you can come on with me there. Game 2, what a way for them to finish. And they did it with splashes, right? But you could tell the desperation in Jack. He ran out. He's like, I gotta go fight. I'm not just gonna sit up here and wait this one out.
Yeah, but with Rock already having a position high up on that leaderboard, now he goes to the finals and gives somebody else that one step closer to getting into that top 5. But only Zeke and our analysts can let us know what the leaderboards look like after 2 games.
My, oh my, here in Surge Week, NA is going wild. We are seeing aggression like I don't know if we've ever seen before. But for Jack and Qua, like I kind of hinted at, they're treating this like a grand finals, right? That's a grand final strategy right there to get a victory royale.
Zeke, there's actually so much to unpack this game, right? You're calling it aggression. I'm going to go ahead and call it desperation. I think the level of play in this Surge Week lobby is really, really showing. Let's not forget that we already have 40 of the best teams not playing in this lobby right now. And I was looking at some of these 7th and 8th zone rotations, and there was like 3 teams that had 90 plus builds. One of them, Clarity G and Casper. The other one, Thoric and Bolts. The third one, Qua and Jack. Those 3 teams have the experience to compete in these types of lobbies, and it is showing. That is why this team had so many heals to use, right? All of these other teams are playing these rotations very, very desperately, looking for some of these very, like, just dire refreshes, where these other 3 teams just like, we're chilling on materials.
And I love that you say desperation, because that's what we saw at the very end there, using the kinetic blade to get down because he wasn't aware of how many heals. That's the one caveat of high ground, is that you aren't able to pick up all of the items that's dropped, where everyone else that's on the low ground has the opportunity to kind of scrounge up everything that everyone else has dropped. But congratulations to Jack and Qua right here. Can't wait to see how they do in the grand finals next week.
And man, there's just so many things that we have to talk about. As Jacob mentioned, now this duo has a victory out. Those standings are going to shift up. Remember, whoever gets a victory out, they're good. They're going to grand finals. They don't have to play anymore. That is going to open up the map, the standings. There's so much to break down here. My, oh my, though. Some of these eliminations we saw in this game, I think you might be right. It is a lot of desperation, right? When these players, the very tippy top, have their backs against the wall, they will make plays happen. Like Paper. This guy jumps up 34 places, Kelly.
And that is what we saw from that incredible elimination, being able to survive to the very end. And that's what we need. We need these desperate plays. They need to be playing like it's the grand finals because of stuff like that.
Yeah, let's not forget, like, I was looking at this duo as this endgame was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, is this about to be back-to-back Shattered Slab victory royales? Like, who's going to be landing there in game number 3? Unfortunately, Paper just barely misses out on the heal up. But there's the shot right there that actually gave him a chance to compete with Jock, who just had so many heals. Look at that. Jock had around about like 40 HP left. So if he could have just found something, one men missed, he could have maybe actually won that game. But nonetheless, bumping up 34 placements, like Zeke mentioned, second place, poisoned themselves to get top 5.
Well, if we're talking about placements, we got to look at placement points, and there's one team that I'm looking at, and that is Casker and Clarity G with 128 points already, 40 points ahead of that 6th place spot. That's a good position to be in. However, we do obviously still have a few more games to go. Anything can happen in those games, so they shouldn't rest on their laurels just yet.
The big thing for me when it comes to this team is that each game so far, they've actually gone into the end game with a couple of eliminations. So they are quickly finding some refreshes before they get into those desperate situations. And I already mentioned it. So many of these teams are running around with like no materials, just going for like some crazy pump shots, trying to find anything. Like, for example, Scented and Favs. You know, they were based up just to the north of Mega City that game, looking for Storm Surge tags. But the whole time they were doing it, they had like 50 builds each. And I'm just like, when are you guys going to go find the materials? They never did. So they went for some, crazy plays. Didn't end up working out for them.
Yeah, and once again, as we turn our attentions back to the standings, look how volatile this is, right? After game 1, Sprite was in first place, but now drops down because of everyone else trying to make plays. But Thoric and Bolts, they've managed to hold on, at least for now, right? We only have a handful more games left to go, but they are doing what they need to do. They need to be playing consistently.
And there's that desperate play that I mentioned out of Sentin and Faz. Actually kind of donated over 2 eliminations to Thoric and Bolts here. But I mentioned that they had so many materials, so much more than a lot of these other teams. Unfortunately, that play right there from Sentin and Faz puts them in such a bad position, unfortunately. You can see they never really fully recover when it comes to the HP, and Bolts actually ends up getting beamed out of the sky. If he had maybe 60 more HP, was fully healed up after that play, he maybe would have, survived that rotate. But Thoric, of course, clutching up some solo placement points, had so many materials like I mentioned, so shout out to him for gathering just those couple more points.
And that's what you need, especially in a position where you can look at his loadout. He doesn't have any splashes. Even his weapons aren't that great, so he's not going to go on the ultra aggression. Instead, he's going to try and survive as long as he can, stay on the edge of the circle so that you know that the front side is going to be where all the congestion is, and he did a great job making sure that he was just on the edge of it.
Yeah.
So wild, man. These games have been insane. So do we feel like that's going to be continually the trend? Maybe like desperation?
Yes.
Like the way these teams are playing after games 1 and games 2, I feel like a lot of these teams don't necessarily know how to play these types of lobbies all that well. So I think we're going to have a lot of those desperate plays, a lot of players to pick on for some of these more experienced duos.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get right back into the action because Surge Week is not disappointed. You guys ready? We're ready. Let's run it. This is game number 3.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, and already we find ourselves just approaching game 3 here. We are moments away from this big fight breaking down, and what an action-packed set of games we've already had. But remember, you have to win here. You have to put it all on the line.
Yeah, we've already seen 2 different teams win in 2 different ways, going to show that as long as you prepare, as long as you practice, set yourself up a blueprint, anything here is possible on the day.
Hey, man, and you know what? At the end of the day, we have quite literally seen just that. That last game was excellent, but we know there is so much more in front of us. Will Punisher be able to win his contested drop? It ended so quickly there before. We know also Mega City is one of the scariest places to be, but don't hold on for us. Let's get on the bus. I heard the horn. I know you did too. It's time.
This is it. The halfway point of the game. Of the day, I should say, game number 3.
That's right.
This is where teams, after this, depending on where you're positioned at the leaderboard, that win condition through top 5 slowly but surely slipping out the window, leaving you with no other choice but to get that big VR to end the day.
And that's right. If you are just tuning in, look at the action here. Spearboat Felix fighting it out. Spearboat finds the elimination. This is a change of pace and story for them. They absolutely needed this. Felix was taken out so early in the last game. They actually did not get to play it out. They're one of the first teams fully eliminated. And you know what? For Spearboat, I love the interview that we just had with him. Talk about a competitor spirit. Look at the fun he's having. And Felix, man, I have to give him so much credit. One of the few college students that also competes in Fortnite at the highest levels. And I know for a fact because he's on a short break here, but let's jump in. Costa in Punisher. Oh my. They're going for the 50-50.
Yep, from Sancho West to Nick at 30. Everybody's watching, rooting for a little bit of Punisher. But for Seer and Zyro from Mexico, they got a whole region on their side. They're going to win the drop spot in terms of taking that high position on the game. Splash is already being used. You can see the Maven shotgun in hand, a shield keg as well. They're looted up and ready to fight this exchange out to the gates. It's costing down to 12 HP, but he's able to kinetic blade. He takes down Yasir without a weapon, but Punisher gets dropped as well. Cypher gets picked up, but the lightning only strikes once with him having nothing to work with. Zyro, he has to know it. He has to sense it. He's not going to continue to chase.
I mean, Jacob, what more can you ask for? What a turn of events there. Zyro Yasir beats them to the drop, and then the kinetic blade comes out, and he just shings him down with a couple big swings there. And now look, tempted by the shield bubble there. He's thinking about it. barely anything to work with. The more time he gets to Zyro to situate himself, the less likely he is to make it out of here. He has to find a clean escape. But wait a second. Those duos are starting to look in now. We know there's a team there off in the distance. It's Disboy, it's Noodle. They're thinking about sliding on through. Zyro has to hit an exceptional shot, but no. There it is. He finishes up, makes it pretty quickly. Clean finish there onto Costa. But Noodle and Disboy, they're looking down here.
They only know so much. They have to be able to survive. The kinetic blade, the stagger, all his shields get trained off. Disboy just trying to immediately build on up.
Yeah.
And there goes another elimination. Zyro goes down, Yasir is down, Punisher, Costa, and now Kenjutsu's crossing is theirs for the taking.
It's crazy because that was worth putting it all on the line for. It was absolutely worth it. You know, so good in fact. Just watch it again. Take a look. Costa came through. 1, 2, 3, 4 swings. And then the finish in fashion. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That's what Fortnite's all about.
Changes the course of the game right there because he's able to survive. They're up as a duo with at least a fighting chance. Zajoc and Tayshawn just getting pressured from the high ground. 2 AM boys doing a good job of taking every advantage and trying to lead it to yet another advantage. Over on the other side, there's Jutraz and Broken, who's trying to break through the wall. He's controlling a fight like this is going to be important, especially right out of the gates, fighting directly off spawn. You want to make sure that you get as much of this loot as possible. Flare gun going out. Position is going to be given up.
Looking good here, but the angle, he's playing the left camera on 7, super careful. Putting himself at a big disadvantage here from the low ground peek from Ajok. Days there waiting. It's been a hard day for them though, playing out of the Slappy Shorts position. Non-stop battles. Although they've had these clean 2-on-2s, you just always had another team looking on inward, trying to put their opinion on the matter when it's not being asked for. But hold up, Broken gets into the box. He's taking a full clean fight, and he gets the finish. And not only that, he gets to slide out and put himself in another spot to land the rest of the shots. And just like that, it's all over. Give him a dance as well.
I like that from Jutraz, though. Broken was in there putting a lot of the pressure. He made sure all those pieces were under their team's control. So even though it got broken down a few times, they had almost nothing to worry about. Frost and Let's not having the best day so far, but Surge Week, you just need to win and you're in. This could be big for Frost. He wants to make his first FNCS Finals appearance this season, but getting pushed farther back in his zone. Shields getting dropped. Luckily for them, it's not too far of a run before they reach the zone, but they definitely got their work cut out for him here.
Yep, all that matters. If you want to make a name for yourself, show up on the FNCS stage. Show up during Surge Week. Put up that performance, and you will absolutely be etched into history. Let's take a look here. Leaderboard, current points. Caster and Clarity lead with a huge margin of 28 over our second place Shadow and Paper. Shadow and Paper is playing so well today. And then it just gets super, super competitive for Defiable, Kinzo, Thor, and Bones. Of course, Acro and his duo.
Ooh, they got the capture point. But whether or not they knew if that duo was over towards the Citadel or not, well, they definitely know now. And that's why you see Sparebow just not breaking down the trees altogether. He doesn't want to give us his position right away. He tries to reunite along with Felix. Neither one of these guys want to get surprised. There's a lot of damage that could go out in a single second from Pluré and Bobby towards the high ground. And since they're on the edge of zone towards the Citadel, any team towards the west side of the map should have to travel around this side of the map. So they definitely got themselves a nice position in towards the sky. But the Brutal Bastion Vault, one that so many teams are going to be fighting for game after game. Even if people qualify out of here, another team might begin to move in because it's such valuable loot to fight for.
Yeah, and this spot is like literally contested before this by two teams. Two teams land here, but now we have 4 teams in the general vicinity. They're rotating, and even more in the distance. Aoxy has to put it all down here, and he finds one big tag, and it's enough to get the finish. Now, mind you, they get the Volt from it as well, so talk about the most crucial of eliminations there. That's going to yield the best payout here. Exactly what you need to stay in the business right now. But Diego with the surprise attack onto Curly. Curly gets a heal off, and you can hear the charge just cook. A nostalgic sound for me to see the charge in action.
I was scared there for a moment right there. Diego barely caught himself as he got tagged with that ODM gear. If he didn't build that ramp on the side of the mountain, he would definitely take a little bit more fall damage, forced to expend a lot more of those chug splashes. But since he didn't, you can see exactly what the plan is mind. Save the splashes for as long as possible. Scavenge any bit of loot, even if it's some fruits, some vegetables, as he pops the corn. And since he knows currently a nerf is right behind them, they can continue to stay 2-3 paces ahead, turn back for Surge any moment they want.
And I just want to talk about how great, not only of a duo as Casker and Clarity J as they're leading, but so is Scented and Fast. They've mixed up their playstyle. Last game they said, hey, we got safe zone, let's stick around Mega City, let's see what happens. It did not work out. Notice how they did not repeat that same course of action. They see a new game, they take a different approach. The best players are gonna find these moments to adapt from round to round. They will not make the same mistake more than once. Caster and Clarity, at this point, they've almost punched their way all the way through the finals, right? They just have to cruise. Stay in the game. Stay alive, and they should be okay.
Yeah, especially if you take note that a lot of the superstar teams have already placed inside of the top 40. They are in the FNCS Grand Finals. So it may take a few games